I was calling this emergency meeting basically because you know what's going on with Venezuela and USA and the Caribbean. So I was trying to get a hold on what's going on in the Caribbean and see how we can maybe connect Africa and the Caribbean together, but the Caribbean countries kind of being isolated. At this point, we have Grenada and the OECS that signed a deal with Nigeria, but we also have Nigeria that's been allegedly fighting the Sahel Alliance. So I'm trying to see if we get the Caribbean to basically intervene and push the United States of Africa, which is, you know, the Marcus Garvey idea in Burkina Faso, Sahel, Niger, and Nigeria all at once. Because at this point, Nigeria and France, America, they've been all accused of working together against the Sahel. So the Caribbean, I was saying, maybe can help. But right now, officially, the real deal that we have is with Grenada and Antigua, Saint Kitts. Those are smaller countries, but any help we can get coordinating, the Caribbean, it could be a big help because we have the numbers in Africa, but they don't really know about everything that's going on. They don't know about the Caribbean. They don't know about the United States of Africa movement as far as Marcus Garvey. So if we could have even a Facebook group where we go live and invite people, maybe some sort of broadcast that's consistent, that could do a lot. The USA and the superpowers that work on propaganda and information. So I know with some of us, our Facebook friends, that could help. Something, um, I don't know, Twitter, something, any sort of broadcast, because there's not really any real Pan African platform. You have the UNIA, now you have Burkina Faso and Mali, the AES, but Nigeria and Ethiopia and even the East African community, we never created a Pan African platform until the Sahel Alliance, and some of them are connected to UNIA groups. But we need solidarity now, especially what's going on with the Venezuela and now Nigeria. USA is pushing their racial agenda, so we have to do something as Black people. That's why I'm starting the calls, so we could do something.
Yeah, we are based in Curacao. We're gonna have the UNIA gonna come to Curacao. So they start to talk with us, give some lessons, 3 days in November 19, 21, 22 of November. They're gonna be here, and we got almost. We are not big. We are not a big group, but we are moving. The one thing, what we can explain to people, boycott United States products, but we are looking for alternative. In Nigeria, what they are doing, I don't like so much. I'm of a Igbo community, but they don't think about fighting against nobody. They think more doing business. They don't even worry about the fighting. And now, but we are busy to look how we can work together with the other islands in the Caribbean. So we are busy with that, but I'm busy this week too with search and rescue training, so I don't have a lot of time. But in Curacao, like Curacao, we are busy. I am busy now to dive for a dive course to be instructor of diver. So because in Curacao we have like 110 dive clubs. Three is from Curacao, and the other more than 100 dive school. They are of people from Europe, mostly Netherlands and German people. Just I'm getting to try to convince other people to work with us. But we are starting to educate our young people. My daughter is coming back from Netherlands. She got two master degree. Now she want to join the fight. Now we are busy here, but big things, big things. we can do. So, but we are moving. With Venezuela, we got good contacts. We talk with them. Naturally, they are against imperialism, but the thing don't go so fast that I wanted to go. But we move what we can move.
I heard that there's 3 million volunteers for militia in Venezuela, which shows a lot of support for self-defense and the current leadership. And they also established a Zimbabwe Revolution partnership or embassy there, and also Burkina Faso Revolution embassy. I'm thinking Madagascar might be supporting. So in Southern Africa, there's Madagascar, there's Zimbabwe, there's the Sahel Alliance. Now, if since there's, I know Nigeria with the UNIA there has been over there for 100 years. It's always gets destroyed because of the obsession over money instead of principles. So there is multiple UNIA groups in Nigeria, at least three. I started one in 2018 based on the Sahel's insecurity, and also the communities there are all connected. But yeah, we influenced a lot in Nigeria. So at this point, I know if we could have Barbados, that's 300,000 people, ABC Islands that are 300,000 people, saying that it's UNIA. If we can maybe get maybe that's enough. Just if we just stick together, I can find somebody that understands the Sahel. The situation, but really, one thing that would help is if there's funds for the Caribbean people to travel, uh, like from Curacao to Barbados regularly. Then maybe Grenada and the OECS, those countries, or into Nigeria or USA to travel, just to travel between UNIA groups and similar minded Black communities. Because there is, community development
The
program.
thing, the
Travel is
thing
important.
is, we must start to do business together. Together,
Hmm.
we can travel. We go there. We got walk around like tourists and come back without nothing.
Hmm.
What we need to do is how we can support each other in doing business.
Hmm.
I told the people, don't buy McDonald's, don't buy Kentucky, don't buy Subway, don't drink Coca-Cola anymore. A lot of people look at me like crazy, but after that, they call me one by one. Say, what you got for options? I told them, we can start our own uh, food. And the people are busy in Curacao to do that. We got some restaurant who selling African food, West African food.
Hmm.
We support the guy. I organized something for the guy. He did it. It's a guy from Nigeria, but we start to do things. There's a woman in Curacao. She got a big store selling African, a lot of products. She got hats, dresses, shoes, a lot of things from Africa. Things like that. They are moving. We must do business together. We must develop a drink to take over Coca-Cola, to think,
Hmm.
because I make them conscious that all the stuff is the killing people. They're not healthy. And we can get some raw stuff of investors from Africa who wanna get it in the Caribbean, make his own drinks, promote the drink. Um, we're gonna bring other thing to exchange, take out McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, all those things.
Hmm.
Break them down. The thing is, we are the consumers. Why we don't buy our own stuff and stop buying the stuff?
Hmm.
Because and if we start with that, we're gonna advance very very fast. The thing is, not only building militia, because building militia, believe me, is gonna cost you time, knowledge, material, weapons, and it's going to take too much time. But if we stop to drink and eat and use the stuff, if we can make perfume by ourselves. We can make clothes, shoes, drinks, food, everything by ourselves. We need people to are convinced that we can do that. Even my shoes is more money than other one, you're gonna buy because you're supporting the brother. That mentality we must come with that, and we're gonna change that break them down. By the situation now in the world, I see what's happening now with United States and Europe. They know they are going down. They know already. The things are happy. What we need to do is convince the people to push that process faster. But I need to leave you guys because I must go to prepare myself now because I got some exam. I just take the telephone because I want to know that. But I
Okay.
got some
My
exam to do this week
okay.
about.
My comment before you leave. What I was thinking is that with Curacao and Barbados, I guess taking the lead. If there's UNIA multiple people in Barbados, we could promote that as the OECS, maybe headquartered and work to integrate. But we looking at the U.S. stock market in the USA. A lot of activists they don't particularly understand the Caribbean or care to organize these calls, which creates an issue. This emergency situation, but from Barbados and Curacao, we can promote it as a base and expand into Africa and do business. But the USA, they understand the stock market, and that creates capital. From there, we could go into logistics with the governments of Grenada and the OECS and Nigeria and Burkina Faso, Venezuela have a partnership. So the Sahel, I report to them. All you have to do is translate into French. They're ready to work. So it's just about the capital, which we can do with added calls. If we have Barbados, that's another 300,000 people to market to. The ABC, that's 600,000 black people we can market to. So it's just about consistency. We can do it, even if
Yes, sure.
everyone doesn't understand the particulars in America. We could, if with consistency, we could put it in a pamphlet. We can educate people. It just have to be consistent. It's a lifestyle. So yeah,
Okay. Okay, bye guys. I see you.
Okay, okay, okay. All the best.
thank you for picking up, Ross Andrew.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'm looking. You know what, brother? I was looking at this the comment Nagosi posted on the Twitter, the X account, and I look at things different. I look at things differently, brother. You know, it's chief that is more organized with the commercial side. I more look on the political and ideological side. You know, and I see how we certain information can come forward to discourage people from reliance on the European markets and the American markets, you know, and move towards a more Afrocentric position. The brother Ngozi was thanking Trump for his position. Now, brother, it seems like we have forgotten what Trump had
Oh,
said.
oh, that is a sister Ngozi Orobueze.
Oh, sister. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
That's what I'm saying. That's Nigeria. Sahel Alliance is the fourth largest country in Africa, and they're not. A lot of people don't even think of them as a country, but they're trying to be a country. It's the fourth largest. So there's three other countries that are larger than the Sahel Alliance, but they don't have any Pan Africanism in them or any Afrocentric approach. So they're the fourth largest. Imagine if the other three were talking like the Sahel. You can't even name the countries that are larger than the Sahel Alliance. Maybe Nigeria comes to mind, but there's also the
yeah,
East African Federation with the DRC, and there's also Ethiopia. But they're not all working together. This is how they think. Everyone
yeah,
goes to the United Nations. Everyone goes to the USA. They don't work together. So the
yeah,
Sahel
yeah,
Alliance
yeah.
at 70 million, they started working together. Now everybody says, "Oh, Africa could do all this." There's three
Yeah,
other groups that are larger than them that could do way more.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what we're pushing. But
Yeah.
then you see they see a lot of them. They don't work with each other. They're like 100 million people, 200 million people. They're talking about Trump this and Trump that, and they don't know. They're like, ugh. It's and the genocide in Sudan, 2,000 people at a time in the Eastern Sahel. Everybody's promoting that as separate from the Sahel Alliance, but that's what it is. They're doing a racial conflict. Arabs financing killing black people in Sudan, Nigeria, all these countries. The name means black. It's the black border with the North Africa. So this is thousands of years old. It's not new. This is what's been going on. Is
But
people
can't
call
we?
yeah.
Why can't we get the sponsorship from the rich black celebrities? What is going on here? What is the issue with rich black
Sponsorship.
celebrities? Because,
Who gets sponsorship from who to who? The UNIA or
yeah, I mean what the
who's
African American and the black celebrities in the U.S. that are earning millions and millions and
who would
I
handle
mean,
the money?
what is the
Who would
issue?
handle the money? As you talk about ideology, because right now we just have the UNIA in Curacao that you guys have been consistent on calls pretty for the most part, but now we don't have UNIA Barbados. They don't pick calls. When we try to get a UNIA Trinidad, they don't pick calls, and we find out everybody was working with the U.S. government to invade everybody else. They got a racial caste system where they call the mixed black people, they call them Dougla, meaning bastards.
Yeah,
Like there's no
yeah,
besides you and I at Curacao, there's nobody else that to even talk to because the ideology is crazy. There's a white royal family over every island. It's
yeah.
insanity. It's completely insane.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay.
but the UNI Curacao represents a hope, but just like the Sahel Alliance represents a hope. With they created a family code where, despite the killings, they can reproduce. It's going to be man and woman, and they have the 45 million people. I think are from the one ethnic group where they're used to
Yeah,
marrying each other, so they can repopulate. It's just about, like Chief said, business, but also the ideology. They have the Marcus Garvey slogan: "One people, one space, one destiny." So they have we have the population that needs to spread in Ethiopia, needs to spread in the Uganda, Rwanda area, Congo, DRC, that area we're working with, and Nigeria. Of course, they're related to the Sahel. They're related to the Biafra group. They need the ideology. That's why I put those constitutions out. Because if you start to do just business with them or let them change the bylaws or the rules of the meeting, you'll lose the ideology. They don't have any ideology. They have the U.S. government, they have the church, they have the mosque, and they just fight each other over fairy tales. All of those three things I named are fairy tales. They don't. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So it is what
Okay,
it is.
okay,
There's
brother.
fairy tale,
Pretty much.
but curious,
I haven't been
the
in.
I
I was
just
gonna say I
wonder.
haven't been in contact. So
Oh,
yeah, please speak.
no, what I wanted to say, just like the Sahel Alliance moves rapidly because of relationships, it seemingly came out of nowhere, but it's ancient relationships. You have the same thing
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Haiti being next to Cuba. Those are two revolutions, and Jamaica. They're all in one area. 33 million people when you count DR. It's 33 million people, some majority black. So the UNIA
Mm,
should be registered in the governments there, and we could back it with those federations that we mentioned in Africa. You could get 33 million people in that one corner, and then you have the
mm,
UNIA Curacao and Barbados, which are hard to reach. But that's 600,000 people between the ABC and Barbados. Where we could plug it into a
yeah,
community development program, start somewhere with programs,
yeah,
and then if we can even market it as the OECS or UNIA or OECS, and it starts in ABC and it starts in Barbados, and people say, "Oh, that's new." They want to join. Then it's just grassroots starts promoting it, and then leapfrog to Grenada and start bringing out the history of Maurice Bishop and the Maroons of Petite Martinique and Curacao and Martinique and where else? Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis had Maroons. Even up span to Bahamas and Miami area. So just starting, the chain of islands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
there's a British Virgin Islands, but it just has to start sometimes from the outside. Curacao and the ABC Islands, that could be a chain, that could be a headquarters. It just has to be consistent. And a lot of people in the USA, I've contacted them to host these kind of calls, but maybe sometimes they're scared of the repercussions. So I'm not scared because if I have
Yeah, yeah,
200 million people in one country, or if you say Biafra, 80 million people, I shouldn't be scared if anybody, you know.
yeah,
But I understand why there's some hesitation and people living in America. They don't have any home base in Africa. They've been away for 400 years. They don't know a lot. So and they see the infighting. They're scared to invest or in the Caribbean, even smaller countries that are getting intimidated daily.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's intimidation, and that's what a lot of what we're seeing is. That's kind of the answer. If we're getting intimidated and looking bad in the media, a lot of people are going to say that. Oh, what's the response? So we have to put a response out where people are encouraged. They feel courageous to invest and join our side as far as the African centered approach. But I'm glad you picked up because I could put this out and say, hey, if we start a Facebook group even, and it's like they're all reporting to you and Curacao, and you have a Barbados team, they were going to want to speak to Barbados or whoever and just keep it rolling. There's community programs, and it's called the African Communities League, or the one I call is called the Autonomous Communities League because it's tied to Chad and Nigeria, Igbo. So they need the ideology. Everybody needs to see that this ideology works. It leads to business. We have people that want to do the stock market in the USA, and they want to partner and they want to get their passports and travel, but it has to begin. If we do it in this where you're located in your community, it can expand. It has to start somewhere. That's all I'm saying.
I think Barbados is the best center right now. They have the space, but I mean the liberated space to make that improvement.
I
Okay.
mean, will they pick up the call when it comes to discussions? We have a
It's just let's say that's where Curacao, maybe we can moderate, or we can make some initiatives to open up channels in Barbados. Maybe this is what I'm gonna try. Brother Springer has asked about setting up a center here in Curacao, because obviously we're central to the South American community also. The Southern Caribbean and Eastern Caribbean is not far away, you know. So, and South America is here. The South America is going to be very vital if you wanted immediate help if we decide to disengage with
yeah,
white America. Okay, the exporters from white America.
yeah.
Okay, the quickest way
It's
forward,
not controversial. It's not controversial to mention race in America because when you look at slavery and how it ended, the black people had to fight their way. War. It was a racial based conflict, and then they had something called the U.S. Freedmen's Bureau. So it was basically an office of a government within a government for the Black Americans to develop their families, um, to develop their household, men and women marrying each other, getting blankets, getting land, to develop. And it would have been Christian. Maybe it would have evolved to African Caribbean, government. But it would have made the U.S. more of a fair federation, where there's a U.S. Freedmen Bureau or U.S. African American office. It existed, also a bank, and it could have. That was the same time that people had already established Liberia. Haiti was already established, so they destroyed it. in order to sabotage the African Americans' ability to govern themselves. And instead, what
Yeah.
flourished in the 1800s was the Ku Klux Klan, which a clan, is a marriage society, is a tribal system where they're running the government from behind closed doors and in secret. And they're saying, "Oh, this doesn't exist," but they're killing the black people. They're killing
Yeah.
Africans. They're killing Haitians. They're setting up the Berlin Conference to divide Africa and extract resources. And then they say it's no, nothing's about race. They're lynching people. And to this day, now they're in a country named Nigeria, the black area, uh, saying it's about Christians. When we know that's the that's the place you helped create in the Berlin Conference. You've been stealing resources. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
Barbados has a Igbo history as well. But the Burkina Faso, we know, and Africa in general, it has to be man, woman, and child. Um,
Yeah.
as
Family
far as,
orientated.
yeah, it has to be a family oriented approach to business and dealing with each other, or even membership within a UNIA. So, yeah, Philip Springer is communicating with you guys in Curacao. That means you have access to Burkina Faso as well. We could keep this going because I've shared that list. It's 4 federations. I don't really have. I with Ethiopia, I figure that Addis Ababa they have to respond, and I figure the Ross. If there's a Rastafari presence, there's also African Union and Ethiopian presence in whatever we're doing. But the Sahel Alliance in Nigeria, uh, being at the table with the Caribbean, it's important because we have the Sultan of Sokoto. We have a kingdom or an emirate system was established that basically keeps Nigeria and Niger divided. But if we get past that, if we get the UNIA, the ideology into Nigeria, through
Yeah.
Biafra, through the Igbo people, the community,
Yeah.
everything's set up. If you do business and you do the ideology, you have the constitutions ready, the symbols, it will take root in Nigeria and it'll
Yeah.
take root at the Sahel Alliance at the same time. So that's maybe 270 million people. It's close to 300 million people if you had Chad.
Wow.
So it's 300 million
Wow.
people. So if we have the OECS, which is 1 million people, you have Barbados and Curacao. You don't need everybody because
Yeah.
if you have maybe 70 million people out that really believe between Sahel Alliance and Nigeria, you have only 70 million people between all of them that really believe, and they speak to anybody in the Caribbean, is going to supercharge the area and say, "Oh, now this is the UNIA, Sahel Alliance in Nigeria and Biafra. They're promoting this event in Barbados. Oh, now they're over here in Curacao. Oh,
Yeah.
Saint Kitts gets an event, or so anywhere in the Grenada area. Now Haiti gets an event. Oh, we're rebuilding the security apparatus that Haiti had 100, 200 years ago. So
Yeah.
that would be easy. Now to get African Americans to buy into that, they'll say, okay, everything's set up. I could get the information about Curacao, what's going on. I get the information about Trinidad, what's going on, and this. Well, Trinidad. You said you had Philip had a contact that was in Calabar, and you showed a picture. I haven't had any success in
Yeah.
Trinidad,
Yeah.
as you can see.
Yeah. 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 I think the things that they're dealing with the Calabar connection. I think in yeah. The sister we have a sister also who's busy with Eagle's sister Nanika. Nanika. She's a reverend. I'll have to ask her so I get some information from her about what because she organized a trip with Brother Philip and organized contacts with the senators and different people. Because one of the contacts from Philip Springer asked me about what about how to deal with the senators. So I said to him, listen, don't go behind what certain advice that certain people give you,
In
simple advice,
Nigeria,
in Nigeria. I said
no, no.
the
All the
senators.
senators. Well, the sister you gave me her contact. She blocked me because she wasn't expanding any UNIA thing. Without the UNIA has been destroyed in Nigeria so many times. Like there's so many branches that have been established and destroyed because people are coming home and they get emotional and they say, "Oh, they don't need to follow this constitution. They don't need to follow these rules. Well, the core rules of the UNIA's constitution will get changed or bent. The core rules are marry each other, self determination, which means like if it's in Africa, the ancient kingdoms and villages are supposed to be able to govern themselves, and a lot of that is already installed. So it's you know you find an economic way to make
Yeah,
money. You find a way to make money
yeah,
and you spread it. You just help each other, but it'll get into one area and they'll say, "Oh, you know, this is for Nigeria. This is for Nigeria, and Nigeria is an invisible expression separating itself from the rest of the surrounding countries. So you're not forming a communities league at that point when you start claiming a country. In Africa, it should be well. We have the Sahel Alliance now, so we could have a Sahel region. We could have this region. You know, Uganda, the Bantu region, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania. There could be a lot of Kazangula with Zimbabwe. There could be a lot of regional expressions, but we just focused on two the past 7 years, and the Kush, Sudan, or Sahel. Those are the three names that are most popular now. They've taken off, so it's okay. It's okay if we have. I think I don't know what the your Barbados contacts are if they're on Facebook or social media, but we can regularly have a call like this where I would look at people in Africa that are going to stick by the Constitution and be able to spread it across borders and create those synergy across those federations, and then pile it into Curacao and I'm hoping Barbados. But we'd have to. I don't know if you want to do if it would be wise to do social media post to recruit people consistently. But at
man.
this,
I think what the UNI, I have to see what the UNI is going to say after this orientation class.
yeah,
Because
some of them actually
even
have social media groups. But if you call on them, and I know the way it's in the USA, we don't have farmland. And farmland helps because now you can be autonomous. A lot of people could control their own time. You can retire or take a weekend off or something at your family farm, and it
yeah,
creates a different atmosphere in the Caribbean where it doesn't exist in the USA. People don't take
uh,
people don't take breaks at all. Nobody, almost nobody
yeah,
in the activist space. They're always
wow,
so everybody's always stressed. They don't have time to relax. Money is always an issue. They're not eating the
yeah,
right food. It just creates health issues and mental health issues that don't are
yeah,
different in the Caribbean. So you'll be hard pressed. I know who's coming this time is the New York division, which is ran by Haitian and Jamaican brothers.
yeah, yeah,
But it's in
yeah,
the other divisions in USA, Atlanta and Baltimore and DC. They don't mention Detroit. They don't mention the Caribbean division at all.
yeah. Yeah, I see that they're working on a different because the UNIA in Curacao is land based. They have their own agriculture. I have 80 acres of land.
Hey,
But the brothers have been very militant. They have just taken the land. You understand what I mean? At any time the authorities can come and say, look, here, you guys are going too far now,
autonomous community. So it's an autonomous community, basically.
within the community, yeah.
So I see. I see. Well, this could be
The brothers are producing agricultural goods and selling them to the supermarkets. That's the source of their funds at the moment. I think that's where it's
wow,
going pretty well. You know,
wow,
they're even selling to Chinese and Portuguese people. So
wow,
they're getting back that money from the community.
wow.
That the community is that the community is paying into the Portuguese super and the Chinese supermarkets. They're getting it back. That's what we have to try and do.
Hmm. So as far as the Caribbean space, like if you were to, I know you probably have your own WhatsApp groups and calls. Do you see, and let's say the idea, do you trust people to have the ideology of,
No, 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 no. The only issue with Curacao is Curacao has always been a space where
no, I mean
many
in the
different
wider Caribbean. Do you see partners, potential partners in other Caribbean islands for what UNIA Curacao is doing. Because I feel like promotion, Africa could promote it and make it popular. But I feel is there already countries that support it? What's
Yeah,
going on?
that's a very basic part of Caribbean culture, the land and agricultural space. That's a very integral part of Caribbean culture. Now, what happens is we're very weak on the part about advertising and promoting, you know, and we're not getting through with making contacts to institutions. Because a lot of institutions in the Caribbean, they need, for example, the old homes, the nursery care, hospitals. You know, they could take contracts from that people who are doing the agricultural work to buy food from us so they can serve patients, they can serve in mental institutions, elderly care institutions. This is one of the things I talked about in the 2023 convention, which we haven't worked on yet, you know, because there's a lot of care institutions. People get an average of $500 a month pension here in Curacao.
Mm,
So
pension.
they had people are handing their pensions in, all right, in return for elderly care when they reach pensionable age.
Wow.
So these old age these nursing homes, as you call them, maybe nursing homes, old age people homes, they are using the people's pensions to buy food for them, because if they give you people give you the pension, you have to be able to provide for them. So what we're looking at is that we need to make contracts with these institutions, you know, for them to buy agricultural goods. But you have to have a very sustained and reliant and efficient service. You know, you can't be faltering.
Well, right now I
Now
feel
this is something we can promote all over Africa. You know,
what
as far as
promote
it,
what
you know,
promote
the
what.
agricultural part and getting contracts to hospitals, elderly care homes, these kind of things to
Well,
buy
I'm
agricultural products from.
I'm not sure. Well, as far as priorities, the ideology has to be there. Otherwise, Africa has to be coming to the Caribbean. It can't be like because we have to consider African Americans. I'm living here in America too. I have been affected by some of those situations where people are not going to volunteer their time to promote anything, and then you have to idea like you have to contract people here, or they have to volunteer. So, and they don't have their own government, so it would probably be volunteerism. Um, Africa doesn't have uh, let's say the military intelligence or the experience of the diaspora, where they understand the racial dynamics and their solidarity. There's
Mhm.
those blocks that I mentioned, Nigeria, the Sahel lines, and East African Federation. Um, I know Dr. Ericana has those contacts, so those contacts are all there to promote it. But um, what I would feel like what I would feel, how would you say, empowered by or positive about is if there was a UNIA Curacao Facebook forum where you could go live, people could see your face and talk about it in the open, and then you see who has a passport. Myself, I don't even have a passport to travel right now, but then we can recruit and say, if we have a UNIA in this area that wants to travel and bring resources, they could. It's all transparent. It wouldn't be just me making a call, but people could volunteer or see it on social media and understand what's going on. From Curacao, you could go to Barbados. Um, you know, People would comment about what's going on right now with the U.S. policy, and the U.S. the diaspora defending Traore. The government thanked people for that. They said that helps give them protection.
Yeah, yeah.
The media, social media. So media affects society. That's why I call it social media or reflects. So media is important. You can see what people are thinking in real time, and it affects international policy and moves. So Curacao to use social media to spread it to, you say it's already in Barbados. People can see it's already in Barbados. then whenever other governments come in on board, I know I have a contact in Barbados um, that's from the Biafra, United States of Biafra self determination movement. That's a branch of the Marcus Garvey movement. So with the
Okay.
same flag and everything, but they don't have the ideology, they don't have the constitution. So everything is kind of in place in Barbados more so
Yeah.
than Curacao or even Grenada. I think Grenada has a
Yeah.
contact. I don't have it. They're the same network. I think they're in Grenada. But if you start in Curacao and Barbados, that's potentially 600,000 people to recruit from. And whereas Grenada has maybe 100,000 in their island, and then OECS is 1 million total. So having another 500,000 people makes them feel stronger. So if we say it starts in Barbados and Grenada, no, Barbados and Curacao, and then it goes to Grenada or the OECS countries, now that Grenada would feel more empowered to start speaking about the village development and independent owned things and working with Cuba and Venezuela and things. The things that we already
Yeah.
know are going on with Jamaica and Cuba and Barbados, those countries already work with those countries. So they'd feel it more empowered to promote the unification of Africa if it started in Barbados and Curacao. I know I said countries, these are small and all this stuff, but it does matter if it happens. So I think we could promote that on social media. I'd be willing to volunteer my time and find people who could participate in a UNIA group, Curacao group. There's a UNIA. There's different UNIA groups on Facebook, and some of them are not
Yeah.
under Duncan. But I know
Yeah.
Duncan. I know he's an elder and he lives in New York, so I guess
Yeah.
he's doing what he can. But
Yeah.
I can help.
The New York division runs very, very tight, very, very strict discipline. They're not gonna, because they know what the infighting is. They had their own, but right now they're going through a very hard court case at the moment, with other UNI saying that Michael Duncan is not the legitimate representative of the UNI
That's
anymore.
been going on for years. Well, I didn't know about that's been going on for years. That's been
Yeah,
going on
yeah,
years. But it's like at the same time, this is who is dealing with Burkina Faso, who's dealing with this is what black people, they're not building the economic system that this is what I've learned. People are in US courts, even back to the original UNIA. A lot of people the US court system is their economic system. You get money from here, get money from there. And that's the saddest thing I found
yeah.
out about the movement.
But
That's
this is absolutely essential. The people need to have this jurisprudence in their thinking, before they can even start about projecting themselves economically. Because black people need to be aware that they're gonna hit their foot, if they're not prepared to defend what they're building.
yeah. So let's
So,
say if we start
so
because here's the issue. The leadership that I've been working with in Nigeria,
yeah,
it's pretty much been one person that's been disciplined enough to say, let me set aside time. Let me read the Constitution with confidence. Let's get into the U.S. stock market to empower ourselves and stop not be having to beg, but let's put our ideas to work once we get the capital. That person, it was one person, and he lost his wife, unfortunately, um, recently. So he's going through that emotional and financial issue,
yeah, yeah,
family issues, and for him to pick up a call and people are not already organized, that's a
yeah, yeah,
trauma. That's a trauma thing. So we have to deal
yeah,
with the fact that people are human beings. We don't live forever. We have
yeah,
there's family issues. Even the UNIA had life insurance benefits written into the Constitution, understanding that it had chaplains and priests, spiritual advisors. So it's
yeah,
not the full UNIA program anymore. And even back then, there was issues. But at this point in time, with what's going on with the propaganda and I'm going to invade this country, I'm going to invade that country, we need to have a resolution. I think the resolution should be there's a Caribbean based movement and there's a African based movement. and we just work together and draw in the USA support that we can. I think that if we have a Caribbean base strategy with the Southern Caribbean and Haiti as a base, and we enforce the Constitution, everything will work out. There's life insurance in the I have a different Constitution, but both of them, there's life insurance. There's the need for a spiritual advisor. So you're talking about marriage, you're talking about life insurance. With mine, there's basketball, there's sports, or basketball really, because sports is a big distraction. Big distraction. Um, there's military and security in both of them. So the African Caribbean Empire is based on Haiti. It's very easy. Haiti and the Southern Caribbean, especially with Curacao, which nobody really speaks about, the ABC Islands, and actually that's where Maurice Bishop was born. So you get from there, you get Barbados. That could turn the tide of the whole Caribbean because it's either Barbados or Trinidad in that area, you know. So either one of them supports the Grenada Revolution, then it's a whole different story.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay, brother, confidence. I will certainly.
Would you want to make this a regular call where maybe you could invite somebody? I know I have Ankh for Wells contact, but at this point we have to get we have to go into economics. Like the elder said, if we could get there's a group doing stock market $10 a day. If we could set that up where we're maybe it's starting to grow in Curacao, and people are starting to talk more, and we get to traveling to Curacao regularly, and then we start because you never know how big it could get in the USA and Africa, where we starting to sponsor trips to regularly, not just once a year or every 2 years, but regularly touch bases in Curacao. And then we have people who could travel from Curacao to surrounding countries, even intra-Caribbean travel. I think would be the best bet if we could start financing with the U.S. stock market and expanding. People have $1 million accounts, $50,000 account. That would change the Caribbean in year where you don't have to explain it to anybody, but it's already happening, and you could just that's what I would think. That's actually one of the emblems I put together, traveling up and down the OECS. But if we add Curacao, Barbados, and we start to, I don't know if you have any OECS contacts that are aligned.
No, only Barbados is the only contact I have, only reliable contact I have.
Okay.
Just like I said, I must deal with the political and ideological positions, you know.
Well, you had St. Lucia. There was a ADDI St. Lucia at one time. But at this point, it doesn't even matter. As far as propagating the fact that we could be working together is enough. I grew up in the USA with all sorts of people. I know how they think. As far as opposing black people, just to show that you know about Curacao and the Grenada is connected to Nigeria, and now they're having all these connections. That's why you see them making threats to Nigeria. It's not a coincidence. So just us being connected. That's why I want to hold this call. But it's like if I work or if me or somebody is in America, we're working. It becomes stressful when we start to hear these news cycles, and then people start getting on their phones and panicking, and then the US, oh, you're not allowed to be on your phone. They fire you. You lose your income. Now you're scrambling for a house and rent. So a lot of these things that are being put out are to make people panic in the USA and different countries, start infighting. So that's really a lot of the stuff is propaganda to make people panic. So on a day off or a day like this, I might be able to start making emergency calls and say, what are we going to do for set the week so nobody's panicking and we know what's going on and the backup plan. But the plan I would say is for us to start building a base off Barbados, what we have, we start building a base because I have I don't know if you're in agreement with the U.S. stock market, investing and learning how to increase the money.
I won't deal with that. It's easier for me to use the natural resources here in Curacao and work on from there.
So with
there are different things we could try and do, like CMOS farming,
No,
Moringa,
no, it's
neem. You can
for
build.
I'm saying for to connect the U.S. government, or no, not the U.S. government, black people under the U.S. government, black people in
Uh-huh.
Africa, and the Caribbean, because black people in Africa don't have this ideology of self-reliance and work with the Caribbean, work with East Giant farming. They don't have that ideology. They have, oh, this tribe versus this tribe, and the U.S. government is going to come blow them up for me. That's what they're talking about right now. They're not talking about CMOS farming. And they're
Oh,
not, that's what they're talking about right now. We can see it in the real news. They're talking about, oh, we don't work with these people. They're Muslim. They're Christian. We're not. They're not talking about CMOS farming. But we have to find something that works for everybody. And the USA,
yeah.
with the money they bring in, I put it out for years that the stock market could enrich people and it could get past all those issues. So we have to find a balance. The Caribbean, it
Yeah.
does have land and they have a racial ideology. Africa has the land, but they don't have the racial ideology, and everything falls apart. USA has the money and the racial ideology, and we could all bridge it together. We have to find a balance. That's what I found works. But if I added the African Americans to this the call, there wouldn't be
Yeah.
any. They wouldn't be leading the call. They wouldn't be talking about investing
No.
in CMOS, and even though they might have the money, they wouldn't be investing. Many of them would be put off from what they hear from Africa, or they wouldn't understand the difference between Barbados and Curacao, or the need to report in regularly. So it's very delicate what we can actually realistically do. This is
Yeah.
it's very delicate. I don't know if you talk to other
Yeah.
UNIA leaders in America.
No, no. What I just do with Brother Joshua, I follow his lead. Brother Joshua is the man who's, and when it comes to you and I, he's the man who's gone through the formation courses, lessons to be to be a UNI representative. I'm not a UNI representative. I'm not even a member of the UNI.
Oh, okay,
Respecting my bounds,
okay. Well, shoot.
Anything regarding anything regarding UNIA, I do. I have to clear it with Brother Joshua.
What about
That
Philip? What about brother Philip?
sorry.
What about brother Philip? Because I know there was a
Well, you
UNIA
see,
Nigeria. There was multiple UNIA Nigeria, but the Barbados, where brother Philip went is near where UNIA Nigeria under Duncan is lit. They're basically the same area, the same culture, but they're not working together. So I'm saying I could see just from what you shared with me that people
oh,
are not on the same page. That's literally like one state.
oh,
That's one state over from where UNIA Nigeria under UNIA Baltimore act operates.
uh,
They're all the same area.
okay,
So
okay.
it's like we're not on one
But
page. I can see it.
So what happened is that Brother Philip asked me about the UNI connection. I said to him, look, Philip, even though where you're using the banner of the UNI, you're doing UNIA work. You know, the brother is actively involved in doing UNIA work because he's bringing African people together. He's creating job opportunities and wealth opportunities through things like Iberia Gold and different things, different contexts. So he's engaged in what the UNI aims are. Okay, so I said, okay, just leave it at that until you get the formal registration with the UNIA. But this is the thing, to be organized formally. There's going to be a lot of dispute involved. And I think what happened was to stay away from the disputes and to be able to continue with the work that the UNI hopes to achieve, which is empowering African people and African descendants, is to keep on carrying the work. Not looking so much as receiving titleship and these kind of things, legitimacy, because you're going to come across a lot of legal battles,
Well,
especially if you're somebody with powerful concepts. And Brother Spring has a very powerful concept right
well,
now.
well, I can say, well, what I'm thinking, I would like to end the call now, but what I'm thinking is
Okay.
to continue the calls in general, just to put it out that there is a Southern Caribbean. Because at the end of the day, the one of the basic tenets is that black people marry each other, man and woman, and it expands. And that's popular in Africa, but in the Caribbean and the USA, the propaganda. Uh, the propaganda is, oh, don't build a family, don't marry each other, just do whatever we do. So
Yeah.
the UNIA is needed, and I think no, not let me not say. I want to have calls with other regions where we could find a balance. Just to say that there's a UNIA Curacao and Barbados is something
Yeah.
that I have to think about, and then now I have to talk about I have to think about the USA and how we could bridge the gap. But honestly, the for the Caribbean to do the stock market, to take classes in the USA, to take the resources and build is the most realistic uh, path towards development. Just to take the resources and develop yourself, because when you start to say, "Oh, Africa, you have to understand our story and where we're coming from," and the USA, you have to understand where we're coming from. You have to get a passport. You have to fly over here. That's not realistic based on based on the realities of what people have to deal with as far as family in the USA, and it's not going to be just to start off. It's not going to be a lot of people picking up and flying to different countries. Um, a lot of work has to be done. Programs, talks like this, programs already have to be in place. Just from what I'm thinking, but um, even if you could see the USA text message, I'll put out a text message to people in the USA that are Garveyards, and they say they're in the same organization, they won't respond. And they're saying they're in the same organization. So imagine people from outside coming in and having
Yeah.
more respect for the organization than the people within it.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen when the leaders don't respect what you're doing down there, or in different countries, because they're more loyal to their country than the race. So they're not going to go to another country.
You're bringing a whole different approach to being literary in this core, because right now we had issues in the Rastafari movement, and I said to myself, look, I'm going to stay away from corporate culture for now and just deal with the formation of people to take up a certain responsibility, because to be able to look after ourselves, we can look after ourselves here. That's not an issue. We managed to get by. It's just finding the time to use education to build ourselves with knowledge educationally, and to have people to assume the correct responsibilities. Because at the end of the day, and what has happened here in Curacao is that a lot of energy and resources have been lost because they haven't been properly administered and legitimized to follow a process of continuity. Because progress needs continuity. If you build a base, it needs to be continued and protected. And this is something we haven't yet mastered here. And this is what I'm working on through the Ethiopian World Federation, because there are many statutes of the Ethiopian World Federation that will make people understand why there are certain people that cannot assume certain leadership roles unless they are able to prove that they can bring a certain amount of members, or they can prove that they have the social connections and power to be able to achieve certain goals within the organization. I don't believe anymore in just working off an emotion and an idea anymore. It doesn't work. It creates friction and problems, division later. So the idea of recruiting the right people who are properly have the right proper social formation. Okay, the UNI is talking about we should marry one another and etc. Okay, that's fully understandable, but that's a long process. It's a long process. We need to look to people who have already established brotherhoods and goodwill organizations, and who have the time and capacity to be able to develop that potential.
Yeah,
That is what I'm looking at the moment.
even
But
even my
I haven't really. haven't really strived towards the economical side. But like I said, when it comes to self-reliance, the self-reliance, we were able to look after ourselves. But we need to take it to another level.
Myself, I don't even have a passport to even travel if I wanted to. So it's only so much
So
I can do.
what happened there, brother? Your passport got revoked, or the
No,
new
I
regulations?
no, it's I have multiple names. I had family issues, not a lack of communication, family issues, but so I have to I have to just get it myself, and that will take time. But it's something I'm working on. But at this point, I just don't have it. So I'm looking at USA travel, and if I have to stay in USA all my life, maybe that's what it has to be. But uh,
Well,
some people just can't. Some people just will never be able to travel outside their country. So work together. There has to be an understanding. I never said like with Africa. I never promised that people are going to travel, but I offered them that there's a U.S. stock market, a place to make finance, and you got to understand that some people just are never going to travel, or you have to find a way to make partnerships regardless. Because if you don't, you get seen as weak, and you have people threatening
yeah.
you to take over your countries and overrun you, and you've seen it in real time. So I don't know. I'll think about what to do because I still have Ankh for Wells contact, and I can report. Like I have to report to the Sahel Alliance at least. Like I have to write a written report. This is where our contacts are. This is who we're working with, and I just don't
Yeah,
want any contradictions like to the plan.
yeah, 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 yeah.
The Caribbean is, I don't want to say it's small because the impact is big, but the numbers of people that we could reach out to is there. It's a couple million people.
Well,
Depending on where you go to.
brother, brother confidence, the words I can use to what Curacao can inspire people is, listen, we're only an island of 150,000 people, but we have a $20 billion economy here. You know,
Mm.
a $20 billion economy between 150,000 people. I mean, a community of 150,000 people, there are thousands of them in Africa. You know,
Mm.
so combining talent, skills, land, leadership, is will go a long way. Will go a long way. You know.
Leadership in Africa would go a long way.
Mm.
It would go a long way, but if pigs could fly, if
Yeah,
pigs
but
could fly,
it can happen. It can happen. It can happen. Once
yeah.
the first step is to grant people land. You know, granting people land, the people themselves will come across and say, well, look, we have the land now. We need to develop it.
You saying in
And you keep
Curacao?
moving. Sorry.
In Curacao?
Well, in Curacao also we have a long list of people waiting for land, but I have a small piece of land which I can build a house on. The UNI has land which anyway, even though it's not secured and legitimized properly.
No,
They're using it.
yeah.
So people need land, and the young, people get young and get access to land from the youngest possible age, then they can develop faster. This is very, very important. They shouldn't be waiting for their family to die before they inherit land.
Okay. Okay. Now with I'm looking at Africa Curacao in the Tula Museum as
Yeah,
places to
Africa,
expand.
yeah, Africa Curacao is run by Yoruba brother Edward Ojo. I know him personally, and I brought him into Philip Springer's fold. He had a project which he wanted to bring forward to the movement there with Philip Springer, and he's become a trusted person of Philip Springer also.
So have you guys talked to I'm guessing you guys haven't talked to government back home in Africa about it.
No, not that's such no.
Edward Ojo, is he from Igbo land or Yoruba land?
No, he's a Yoruba guy, strict Yoruba guy,
Okay, see.
strict Yoruba guy. And one of the problems is that it's the same Igbo Yoruba clash. I mean, Chief Marlon, he doesn't. They talk, all right, but he knows that Chief gets nervous when he's around the guy, because he senses the guy like half asleep and not really motivated. But the guy has a brilliant mind, The guy's been,
That's Nigeria. That's Nigeria for you. That we didn't have to wait for the Sahel Alliance to start talking. Well, Nigeria still isn't talking Pan Africanism, or it is what it is. But I think we can end the call. And
Okay, brother.
I'll see.
Okay,
But
that's
this,
right. And
I don't know if this could be a regular call. I still have Ankh. Well, just to have Barbados and Curacao, like you said, 20 billion. We can find something to do. And after I added President General Duncan, but they have a federation of Caribbean restaurant owners. I'm
yeah,
sure you've heard of it, Rock.
yeah,
There's
I've heard
something.
about
If you just think about it, this isn't the end. We just gotta be consistent. I could donate time or invest time into making more calls and broadcasts, and we'll just see how it goes. But the Barbados and Curacao is a start, and just to know that we're connected, it's something that will make the governments, pause. I think, as far as trying to attack the Caribbean and Africa, but I have to think about what we could do. You can probably come up with some ideas. I'm going to talk to the USA networks that I have, and we'll see where we go.
yeah,
Yeah,
find some way to build an agenda. That's
yeah,
what we have to do.
yeah. Because Grenada and OECS, they made deals with Ghana and Nigeria, so they're trying to, push an agenda in the largest black country. Haiti's connected always. So
Yeah,
some of those countries that aren't in the OECS, Bahamas, Grenada, uh, Virgin Islands, Spanish Virgin Islands, or Puerto Rico, as they call it.
yeah,
Curacao is a good communication to have. So we'll see. I don't know everything. I got to talk to more people, but at least you are connected to Burkina Faso through Philip. I don't know if I think he changed his number though, because I don't have see it on WhatsApp anymore. So he must have changed his number, but the connection is there as far as business. They'd
yeah,
want to negotiation too, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah. Okay, brother. I'm going to be working through